Ogun State, Nigeria. From September 29th to October 3rd, youth from every nation will gather under one roof with one mission to build, transform, and take territories for the kingdom. Expect powerful worship, inspiring sessions, and divine impartation from Pastor E.A. Adeboye, and other anointed minister of God. Don't just watch history, be part of it. The stage is set. The gates are open. Are you ready to step in? IYC 2025. Gates protectors. See you there.
Well, let someone shout hallelujah.
Get ready, Nigeria.
Wherever you are listening to us from all over the world, you are welcome to day 4 of the International Youth Convention. My name is Ikechukwu Duke, and this is Youth Hangouts from RTM Studios. I have with me 2 amazing guests, and I'll have them introduce themselves.
Hello, everybody. My name is Peter Falegwe. In mechanical engineering by training and also a serial entrepreneur.
My name is Finfolua Ennis. I am a software engineer and the co-founder of a company called College Scout.
Amazing. It's nice having you guys around. Today is day 4 of the International Youth Convention, meaning that we've had 3 days of packed programs, and now we're in the 4th day. For me, I've had an amazing time in God's presence, having to learn from the sessions, from the breakout spaces and whatnot. I also want to know what your takeout is or so far from the International Youth Convention. I'll probably start with Finn and then come to Peter. So Finn, what would you say has been like a major highlight for you, for the International Youth Convention this period?
Okay, a highlight for me was last night's administration by Pastor Remy, and it was really a call to action to be empowered spiritually to protect the gates in various areas of our nation, of our church, of our families.
Yeah.
And so that was a highlight for me. But apart from that was the highlights to see that there were various sectors such as agriculture, family, that were being highlighted, and action that we could take as youths to protect those gates, to take responsibility for those sectors so that we do not have a situation where things are degrading.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Peter, how about you?
I would say for me, apart from the plenary sessions, I would say the breakout sessions, the syndicate sessions are like an eye-opener for a lot of youths here. We'll talk about artificial intelligence, financial intelligence, agriculture, business. We'll talk about public speaking. We'll talk about a whole lot of things that youths of different ideas that are so crude get there and get it refined, so that when they get to their various states, their various locations, they are able to make good use of it. They are able to grow on that sphere, and they become a gate protector in that sphere.
Amazing stuff you've highlighted there, Peter. The Youth Convention is one of the largest gatherings of youth, not just in Nigeria, but across the world. We're looking at having a number of almost 4, 5, 6, 10,000 youths coming together in one space, and seeing that youths are the future of the generation, and also referring it back to the fact that yesterday was Nigeria's independence. How would you say that youth can be gatekeepers of the nations and gatekeepers of governance? Because if we are the future, if we are the leaders of tomorrow, it means that we have to hold some ground, especially across the public sector. Across Nigeria, across the state of affairs in Nigeria. We know that we ought to be gatekeepers in that extent. But before we go into talking about us being gatekeepers, what would you say would be the Nigeria of your dreams? If we're going to gatekeep the Nigeria if we're going to gatekeep Nigeria, rather, we must have a dream of what we want Nigeria to be like, that we can stand in the gap for. So what would you say would be a Nigeria of your own dream? Peter, let's hear you first.
Okay. Personally for me, I've been somebody that I've been very, very passionate about this nation.
Right.
From early times, ever since I know a little bit of history of how this nation came to be through independence, through everything, our leaders from the beginning down to this point, I would say that Nigeria of my dream would be a country where there is accountability. Because I feel with accountability, this country will get to where it is going.
Okay.
The fact that we have different leaders that come in with different projects, that come with different ideology. There is not a roadmap left by a past leader that everybody is following. Everybody have their own initiative. Everybody is wise on their own. It's when we get to that point that there is accountability. Because if you are in an office and you are leaving, you must leave a proper document. You must leave a proper guideline for someone coming after you to be able to go through it. We have a lot of uncompleted projects in Nigeria. We have a lot of policy change in Nigeria. Every year, there is always policy change. We have a system currently that a lot of policies have changed, of which Nigerians are hoping that it's going to favor them. And 2027 is coming. If another government should come into power, there will be another policy change. I feel like if Nigeria, if our leaders, if we ourselves becomes accountable, Nigeria will get to that space, that dream that every young Nigerian have, will be able to get there.
Thank you very much for that point, Peter. Now, your question leads me to what I would ask Fee. So, Fee, my question to you now is, based off of what Peter said, would you say the Nigeria of your dreams is something that is being practiced somewhere across other nations that you want to bring back home? Or you think it's something that Nigeria or Nigerians themselves can develop from within and express it? Or is it a system that we're seeing, for example, in the UK, in the US, that you think we want to bring to Nigeria to make the Nigeria of our dreams? Or is it an indigenous thought within ourselves that I think we can express for ourselves?
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking. I think that there's no imported solutions to our problems. We have very unique challenges. We have very unique people. We have a very unique culture. So bringing a solution that exists somewhere in the West or in the Middle East may not particularly fit into our context. So while we can look to these developed nations as a standard, we also have to adapt these solutions to fit our context. So my view is not that there's no one is coming to save us. We have to make the decisions ourselves and build the solutions by ourselves.
One of the things that I've just learned right now from what Fee has said, for everybody that's listening at home, there are no imported solutions. We are the solutions. We have to provide the solutions ourselves. We can't import the solutions. So thank you very much for that, Fee. That's a very, very amazing point that you've raised. Now, there are almost 5,000 or more than 6,000 youths. 500,000, apologies. I apologize for that. There are more than 500,000 youths currently that are probably listening to us right now, that we're addressing as we speak. And I want to ask you guys this question. What role do you think the youths play right now? Because as it seems, within the state of affairs of the country, it seems that there are the 60 years to 80 years plus that are managing the affairs of the state, and there's really no room. Everybody is in quotes gatekeeping the space against the youth, as the case is. What would you say is the role of the youth within this system? Peter, I think you have something to say about this.
Okay. What I would say first about that is that why we say the 60s to 80s are like gatekeeping things from, I feel like it's not totally right. At the same time, it's not totally wrong. Why? Because the youth does not even know the history of the country.
Okay.
One of the reasons why the youth will not be able to save this country is because they lack knowledge, lack of knowledge.
Okay.
Now, so if you ask a random youth outsider, how did Nigeria gain independence? They will tell you that Sir Tafawa Balewa, Sir Ahmadu Bello, and Obafemi Awolowo came together, went outside the country, and they gave us independence. What is the in-depth story? What are the things that are being signed? What are the pacts? What are the treaties? How was Nigeria divided? none of them know about this. So this knowledge is not being found in the youth, like most youth. But we can see currently that youths that have taken their time to know about these things, to know about how the system works, to know about what is going on, the real problem of Nigeria, to know about all these things. All these kind of youths are in government. Some of them are coming or aspiring to be in government. And the leaders, I mean like the age bracket of the 60 to the 80s, cannot push them away.
So Peter, what you've just raised right now is that as much as we are saying that there is a gap where youths cannot participate in the political space as it is, you would want to say that one of the causes or one of the main causes of that is the lack of information or, in quote, ignorance of most youths towards the past. Because if I'm getting a cue from what you're saying that the way to forge forward is actually to understand how we have come so far. Did I get that correctly?
Yeah.
Amazing. So you're putting out a call of action to youth to go back to learn more. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. So on that, I'll say that what the youth focus on these days is just headlines. They don't focus on the major body of the news. And these days that we have blogs more than newspapers, more than TV houses. Youth tend to read blogs, and blogs are trying to make money. So most blogs put catchy and clickbait for people to come in and read. And most times, what they put on there are not true. They are like a mirage for you not to see what is really happening. And something about, I didn't study political science, but I've given myself to the knowledge of a little bit of political science. There's something we call media politics, where the ruling house,
whoever controls the media controls the people.
You get that logic. So like they put out all this news, they put out things to distract people. So you must be ready. If you want a change for this country, if you want the Nigeria of your dreams, you must be ready to see beyond what you are being told. You must be ready to give yourself to, okay, what is going on? Now, there are a lot of issues in the country that the youth will say, there is no job, there is no food, there is no that. Oh yeah, why are we not having jobs? Why are we not having enough jobs? Now, they say industrialization. Government should bring industry, government should bring industry. Now, what's the sustainability of government creating industries?
Peter, I'm going to put a pause on what you've said so far, because you're actually making a very, very valid point, but I also want to hear what Finn has to say. Okay. For those of you that are just joining us, Peter just raised a very, very valid point about how education of the youth, or information or misinformation towards the youth, is something that can forge Nigeria moving forward. So youth have to always stay informed, having the right information and disseminating the right information per time. So, to you, Finn, now, the role of youth in Nigeria, or the population of youth in Nigeria, is more than 60%. Not just in Nigeria, but in Africa. There is a general statistics that says that over 60% of the youth, of the population of Africans are youth, meaning that in another 10 to 20 to 30 years, the youth of today will be the leaders of tomorrow, as we've been saying since we were in primary school. Now that we know that this is going to happen, what practical steps would you say, or what would you advise youth to start preparing for, to take over in the next 10, 20 years?
I think one of the things that young people of Nigeria and Africa should do is to find solutions to the problems that we face and solve those solutions through entrepreneurship. I see entrepreneurship as a way where we can look at problems and then provide solutions. As I said earlier, that no one's come to save us. We cannot just wait for the government to do their part without us doing something about these problems. So if we have a problem in the education space, what can we do to solve this problem? Can we create a startup? Can we create a company that attempts to solve this problem? And with global industrialization and globalization, we can receive investments from all over the world, from the US, from the West, from the Middle East, to solve the problems. And if we solve a problem that's painful enough, it can be profitable. And so if we solve the problems ourselves, we lay a foundation for us to get to the top. So if you have a track record of solving problems, you are more valuable to organizations, you are more valuable to your society, and you eventually become more valuable to the nation. So I believe the youth should take action in solving the problems that we already have.
He has raised a very, very strategic point. Within the next 10 to 20 years, there's going to be a shift in the demography of Nigeria, and not just in Nigeria, but in Africa. The youth that we have today are going to be in positions of power tomorrow, because those in position of power today will be phased out within the next 10 to 20 years. Now, what should you do within 10 to 20 years to prepare to take over the helms of affairs when the time comes? And Fee has clearly told us that we need to be solution-oriented. As youth, I think that one of the things we do the most is to complain about everything going wrong and not suggesting what to get right. So now Fee is calling us and telling us, everyone out there, try to make sure that you're solution-oriented. Think about solutions. Think about solutions in every niche, in every aspect of Nigeria. Now, this is going to be a very funny question I'm about to ask, and I would want to get your honest opinion. So, peradventure, hypothetically, Peter or Fee, you become president of Nigeria today. What will be the first things you want to see change within the first 30 days or let's say 90 days of you being president? I'll give you just a minute to think while I establish on the points. So, I mean, it's enough for us to say that we want to see the change that we want. But now, you are in a position of affairs, or you're in the helm of affairs where you can make certain decisions regarding Nigeria. And not just Nigeria, but Nigeria's place in Africa and Nigeria's place in the world. Within the first 90 days, what are the first things you want to do? I mean, I'm very sure if you ask any random Nigeria, the first thing they'll tell you is, Omo, we embezzle, because that is like the mindset that everybody has. I'll look for something for myself. But now we're looking at the change makers, being gatekeepers, being the people that stand in the gap for not just the church, but also the church and the nation and the people. So how would you, or what would you suggest, or what would you say your plan would be for the first 90 days of you being in office? I'll go with Fee first, then come to Peter.
Okay. If I was to be the president of Nigeria today, what are the things I would first address? I think the first thing I would address is to build a credible solution to how leaders are elected into office. So the first place I'm targeting is the INEC. So we're going to dissolve INEC and reconstitute the INEC such that it becomes giving a platform that gives power to the people, not just the politicians that appoint.
Very valid point.
So if we have a working, independent electoral body that elects leaders into government, that sets a precedence for the future.
I mean, for you to have been elected, I want to believe that the INEC of the time did a great job to put you there, right?
Yes.
But
and so we have to make sure that the wrong people don't get in again. That's the first challenge.
This point is actually very valid, because I feel like in Nigeria, people see leadership as birthrights now. We can almost project who the next 5 presidents can be. We can literally just say, if it's not this person, it's this person. If it's not from the north, it's from the south. If it's from the south, it would most likely be these 2 people. So, I mean, having to say that to be one of the plans you make, that actually sounds very nice. Do you think you want to add one more to that within the next 90 days that you'd love to see?
Well, the next thing I would do if I was president is to establish a sovereign fund. I believe that entrepreneurship is the core to solving a lot of problems we have. So establishing a fund that funds entrepreneurs and solutions across the nation, and providing an attractive environment for investors to come in and put their money.
Amazing.
So incentives, tax incentives, government support, policy changes that support ease of doing business in Nigeria. Those are the things that we need to see happen more and happen intentionally. That's the first thing I will address.
Thank you very much, Fee. Peter has been smiling since I asked the question, and I'm sure that he has. I'm very sure that one of the first things Peter will do will probably be to imprison all the former head of states or something, right? But I want to just tell me what would be on your
Okay.
mind.
Before I get to what I want to say, I just want to say something about what you said.
Okay.
You mentioned something about tax, funds for SMEs.
Yes,
entrepreneurs.
MSMEs, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we have those things in place currently because I've seen people benefit from it. But I feel we need to deal with nepotism. We need to deal with tribalism to really get this thing across down.
Do you think it's something that really can be addressed, Peter?
Now, one of the things for me,
Yeah.
that is bringing me into what I want to do. So
Okay.
one of the things I would do is, the first thing is that I want to do is to, we're going into privatization, having public-private partnerships in Nigeria. Because most of our institutions and industries in Nigeria are non-functioning because we left it to the government alone. And which, even if the government is generating funds there, the maintenance culture of the government is too poor in Nigeria. So we need to leave it to a private body,
Yeah.
of which is a private-public partnership with the government. So we give them the operation, let them run all these institutions.
Right.
We have Ajakuta there. That thing has been dead for God knows when. And the government have pumped money into that system for a long time, but it's not yet standing. So I feel like we need to bring in private people into some certain industry, and we need to allow industries. We need to create forums. We need to create platforms for industries to be bet out of this country at the same time come from outside.
Thank
because
you.
at times we need things like that to keep the economy in flow.
Yeah.
That's number one thing I'm going to do.
Okay.
Number two thing I'm going to do is, I mentioned it at the beginning, accountability. Accountability is we are going to create a way that everybody, down to the local government, down to councillors in the local government, House of Rep, House of Senate, everybody
It's accountable.
is accountable. You don't just get 1 billion naira or 2 billion naira for a constituency project and we cannot see. Everybody is accountable. It will not be a politics of dog eats dog. It will not be a policy of if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
It will be a policy of I'm going there to represent my people. It will be a politics of not a get-rich-quick scheme for yourself. It will be something that if you're a public servant, everybody knows you're a public servant. It's not a way for you to enrich yourself.
Thank you very much for that, Peter. You've raised some valid points that I would want to talk about, but I'll come to it in a minute. I am not. I'm not the president right now, but I would say that one of the things that I would focus on if I were in the shoes of being president would be to focus a little more on education, because you would notice that over time,
90 days.
What do you say?
He said within 90 days.
Within 90 days. Oh, yes. I'll start an education reform, you know that within the last 20, 30 years, it has been the same curriculum that has been recycled over and over again, especially within our educational space. And seeing that the world is moving at such a pace that the inventions of the last 2 years are becoming stale today. ChatGPT came out when, and it has been an evolving state. There's ChatGPT, there's Gemini, there's this. It started with just text to speech. Now it has turned to a whole lot of other things right now. So the world is moving really fast, and Nigeria or Africa will always be lagging behind if we are not putting ourselves to be in the forefront, especially when it comes to skills, talent,
Innovation.
education, and innovation. Yeah. So I would say that would be one of the first things that I would do, and that would be just before imprisoning all the former heads of state. I'm just joking, by the way. I'm just joking. So one of the major things that is happening right now that we're seeing across Nigeria. I was at the airport a while back, and I was surprised the amount of people that were leaving Nigeria at the moment. And if I could give a rough estimate, if there were 10 people, 7 of them were within the ages of 16 to, say, 35. Meaning that our youth population are trying to find greener pastures, abroad. You know, the whole Japa syndrome thing. Yeah. So speaking to that, what would you say would be something that the country can do to curb, not to curb, I mean, everybody's looking for greener pastures here, but if you had the opportunity to speak to what can be done to ensure that people do not see going abroad as greener pastures, but that the grass is green where you water it, yeah, what would you say, what would you speak as regarding that? Let me hear from you, Faye.
I think that JAPA has its benefits. Immigration from the country to other parts of the world has its benefits. And one of the benefits we've seen, especially in recent times, is the remittance to Nigeria and what it solves. So I won't discourage completely leaving the country because that has benefits. But what we can also do is create opportunities for people who are within the system to grow, creating an enabling environment for businesses, for academics, for education, for sports, creating an enabling environment, a system that works.
Buffy, what would you say about the talents that are leaving? I read the statistics one time that I think in the US, per year, a doctor should be able to attend to at least 600 patients in a year. But I think in Nigeria, one doctor is attending to 60,000 in a year. And that means there's like a talent gap. Yeah, people go through the 7 years of med school and whatnot, and they are in the US, leaving a gap in Nigeria. I mean, if you are saying you do not discourage it, how about the talent gap?
So in areas such as healthcare, it's a critical situation. I recall a former governor of a state who happens to have a medical
facility,
a medical training institution, university, university, and he said that he asked this class of 30 graduates, or 30 graduates of medicine, and he asked them how many of them plan to emigrate from the country, and 29 of them raised their hands. So it's a negative situation. But I think that what we can do about it is creating more opportunities for people to grow into these fields, more opportunities for skills. So creating more medical schools across the nation, because those who are leaving will still leave, but we can create more opportunities for those who are here to grow into those positions, and then those who are around, creating an enabling environment for them
to thrive.
For them to thrive.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to be rounding up with Peter. Yeah. So Peter, in less than 30 seconds, this is your camera. Speak to the audience and let them know.
I thought I'm going to answer this.
Oh, no. We're rounding up right now. So just speak to them and let them know your 2 cents on how they should be gatekeepers, and just encourage our viewers out there.
Okay. I will advise every young person out there that the country may be the way it is, but as Christians, as gate protectors, you should be out there seeking knowledge, hard knowledge, get knowledge in everything you can do, and get your hand to do something. Innovation, be innovative. Whatever you are doing today, one day, for sure, if you are persistent, you will get there, and Nigeria will get there.
Thank you very much, Peter. So that brings us to the end of today's session. I have had an amazing time with our guests, and one of the things that I've taken away is that help cannot be imported. The help is within us. Yeah, we need to evolve to being the gate protectors that we are, and with the help of God, I am certain that Nigeria will be God's own country once again. Thank you very much for being with us, and thank you to our guests. It was such an amazing time being with you guys. We'll see you guys again. Thank you, and God bless.
Get ready, Nigeria. Get ready, the world. IYC 2025 is here. This September, something big is about to happen. The International Youth Convention of the Redeemed Christian Church of God is coming in bigger, stronger, and better than ever before. Themed Gate Protectors. Happening at the Redemption City, Kilometer 46, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Ogun State, Nigeria. From September 29th to October